It's not just a cliche that the world has shrunk. Here in the United States, we have every tribe, language, tongue, and people through immigration, and it seems like every cuisine from around the world. But what are we doing to touch the lives of immigrants? Surveys show that the vast majority of people from other religious traditions say, "I don't even know one Christian." Welcome to Global Mission Snapshots.
Just before he went up to heaven, Jesus gave us a command. He gave us a mission. Jesus said, "Go. Go unto all the world, telling them of His love." This is our mission. This is our global mission.
Hello and welcome to Global Mission Snapshots. I'm Gary Krause. Imagine leaving your home, leaving your country, and moving to the other side of the world. Well, I don't have to imagine because my wife Bettina and I did it. It's not so easy even under the best of circumstances. When we moved to the United States, at least they spoke English. Well, sort of. But imagine being forced to leave your home country because of persecution. Imagine moving to a place where the language, the customs, the culture are totally different, where you don't even know one person. Some leave the steaming jungles of Southeast Asia to arrive in places like Minnesota or upstate New York in the middle of winter. Everything's new, everything's different. According to the United Nations' most recent statistics, there are more than 10 million refugees worldwide. Today, we'll be talking with Terry Saley, Coordinator for Refugee and Immigrant Ministries for the Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America. As a college student, Terry volunteered teaching in refugee camps in Thailand. She came back to the United States with a passion to help refugees and immigrants back home. But first up, this message. It's my pleasure to welcome to our program Terry Saley. Terry, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, it's a privilege.
You are you head up the Refugee and Immigrant Ministries for the Adventist Church in North America. Tell me, what does this role involve? What do you do?
Well, I prayerfully find ways for Adventists to reach out to refugees, immigrants, and visitors to North America.
Now, refugees, immigrants, visitors, can you define what they mean?
Yes, refugees are people who have to flee across national borders for a well-grounded fear of persecution, and there's a very careful screening of these people. And they are screened by the United Nations before they're given refugee status, and then they are eligible for a third country that's willing to resettle refugees to come for interviews.
And immigrants are just people who come through choice?
Yes, immigrants actually, once refugees are here after 1 year, then they are eligible for permanent residency status, which means they're eligible to become immigrants. But of course, the refugee experience never leaves them.
No.
The visitors to North America are actually temporarily here. There are totally, on the average of 104,000 refugees, immigrants, and visitors who come every day to North America.
Wow.
And some immigrants, refugees and immigrants, come to stay. The others, whether they are international students or whether they come for temporary work or come as diplomats, they're here for a short time, but they have the potential of sharing what they learn here when they go back.
Right. Now, this is a very challenging time of transition for refugees when they come. Just a destabilized world for them. How welcoming is the Christian church in North America to these people?
Well, actually, we are quite unaware.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the UN, Americans in general, are known to be ignorant of refugees, who they are, why they're here. And there's so much news about illegal immigrants that once they hear the word immigrant, just almost automatically, without thinking about it, some of us think illegal.
Right.
But by far the majority are not illegal, and they bring a rich asset to our country as well. But refugees especially have gone through so much, and when they come, they've had to leave the country they love, most of them very reluctantly. They're not eager to come. I could tell you stories, but when they come, they are ready and eager to learn American culture, the English language, to fit in, to be productive. But often about 6 months to a year after they arrive, they realize how very difficult it is to learn the language, to survive. Most refugees have 3 months of assistance, and then they're on their own. They have to speak enough English, have a driver's license, be able to drive, and be self-sufficient, making their own money. And it's very stressful because many of them come from cultures, from the jungle of Southeast Asia. And their skill set, gardening skills honed for centuries, there's no place for them to practice those, to use those skills in the middle of the cities where they're dumped. And they have to get used to the concrete jungle. And often 6 months to a year after they arrive, post-traumatic shock syndrome sets in, because just such a feeling of helplessness and hopelessness to ever really be productive and capable of showing their appreciation to this country that has welcomed them.
Yeah. So just briefly, what should be our response to these people?
You know, the more welcoming we can be, the better.
Yeah.
Make friends with them. I believe God gives us divine appointments. In the grocery line, at the gas station. Often we'll meet people who we have no idea what they've been through. They may have had to flee for their lives. And just for us to say hello, a cheery smile, hello, watch for something we can do to help, be interested. Often we as Americans we're taught not to ask certain questions. Don't ask a woman's age, don't ask a person's income, don't ask where they live, because they might. But this is the opposite of what these people need. They need people to care enough to get involved in their lives, to ask, where do you live? To go and visit them and see where they live, to find out what they need and get involved, invite them to our homes, share our lives and our families with them. This is the best thing we could do for a refugee, immigrant, or visitor to our country.
Great. We're going to continue talking some more, but first we're just going to go and visit Minnesota to see some ministry taking place there.
The big challenge was that you simply felt totally isolated. We didn't have people with whom we could talk, but somehow my parents, through a family that spoke German, found some jobs in a factory. One of the problems was that there were good people you were dealing with. There were also people who would take advantage of you, and you never knew which it was. And so finding an apartment, somehow we found an apartment, second floor of a house, and we moved into it without any furniture or anything, but at least it was ours. At that time, we had made some contact with the church, or the church had made contact with us, the Adventist Church. So they helped us with that move. Without them, it would have been really almost impossible. We talk about the church reaching out to individuals in need. An immigrant is a person or family or group of people who have left something that was known to them, have come to something that is very unknown and strange to them. And they feel awkward. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to behave. And so that's the mission of the church, is to reach out to people who have needs. And certainly immigrants are people who have very, very specific needs at that moment.
Every weekday morning, Blia Jiang, a Hmong refugee from Thailand, drives her 2 young children to the local Seventh-day Adventist elementary school. Adventist education is so important to her that she lives in a homeless shelter so that she can afford to pay her children's tuition. Unable to work because of a disability, most of her income goes to providing a Christian education for her children.
The thing that I hunger and thirst for the most is God. So that's why it's so important that my children attend an Adventist school, because I want them to know God. That's why I decided no matter what hardships I have to go through, it's worth it to me.
The snow-covered landscape of St. Paul, Minnesota, is a stark contrast to the humid streets of the large cities of Southeast Asia. Anyone who immigrates here must learn to battle the extreme cold as well as the culture shock of living in North America. St. Paul has become a settlement of sorts for refugees from Asia, Africa, Europe, and Central America. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in North America has focused on reaching out to the Hmong and Karen groups in the greater St. Paul and Minneapolis areas. This quarter, a portion of your 13th Sabbath offering will go to help refugee outreach ministry projects throughout the North American division. Terry Say Lee is the project coordinator and has worked among refugee groups for many years. Her tireless dedication to reaching out to unreached people groups is a wonderful example of serving as Christ's hands here on earth.
So it is significant that we are able to do something to assist them to grow, as we've done with our other groups traditionally. And individuals like Terry Saley, who is very active and working with the Hmong people, need our support, but we need to do something larger. And so, hence, the 13th Sabbath offering is a very welcomed offering in North America.
Several times a week, Blia meets with a small group of Hmong refugees to study the Bible. While some of them are currently attending church, for others, this is the first time that they have ever opened and read a Bible. They ask questions and learn to sing hymns. At the end of the meeting, they offer up to God their first prayer to Him. For Blia, no matter how hard her circumstances are, she will never stop sharing the good news of Jesus with the Hmong community. Telling others about Jesus is an emotional experience for Blia.
God loves me, and every time I think about that love and talk about that love, the tears just come because He loves me so much. I am so touched by God's love that I can't keep the tears back.
The East Side Seventh-day Adventist Church in St. Paul is home to an eclectic group of believers. People from Africa, Asia, and North America meet each week to worship the God they serve and love. In the basement, Karen refugees from the country of Burma hold a Sabbath school class in their own language. Most of their members don't have access to transportation, so one of their leaders drives a van to pick up members from all over the St. Paul area. There are more than 4,000 Karen refugees that now call Minneapolis and St. Paul home. And more than 200 of them are now Seventh-day Adventist members. They are in need of their own place of worship where they can invite others from the Karen community to learn about Jesus. Their resources are limited, and they ask for your prayers as they struggle to meet the demands of this growing refugee group. Saul Morrison is one of the lay leaders, and he only works a part-time job so that he can work among the Karen community. He helps them to find jobs, apartments, and assist them with their immigration issues. He also makes sure to invite them to church. Lay pastor C. Nay also works with Saul as they visit members and seek to reach out to the needs of the Karen people in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Please pray for the Refugee Outreach Ministry of the North American Division as it strives to reach out to the growing refugee population in North America. Currently, there are more than 3 million refugees in North America, making it a ratio of 3 refugees for each Seventh-day Adventist member in this division. Your faithful support of the 13th Sabbath offering will help to reach these people as they strive to rebuild their lives and find hope for the future.
Well, it's good to see, Terry, that a special offering was collected to try to help with this ministry.
It's a tremendous blessing.
Yeah. Now, the lady in the story, Blia, who sacrificed so her child could have Christian education, can you tell us a bit more about her?
Blia has an incredible story. She was an orphan. She lived in a refugee camp, and I wish I could go into the details, but she, at one point, came face to face with a cobra. She didn't know even the Hmong word for God. But in Hmong culture, they believe that the owner of the sky made everything. And so she, as she stepped up on a log and saw a cobra coming across, she silently cried out, "Sky, help me," short for owner of the sky, help me. And people didn't believe her story till they went and they saw the grass and what a big cobra it had been. And they said, "You wouldn't be alive if the sky, the owner of the sky, hadn't helped you."
Wow.
And through her life, she always wondered why she had such a hard life. She ended up being forced to marry someone she, very young, came to the States. He left her for another woman. So many things happened. She got so sick, they were making funeral arrangements. But we had just been called to reach out to the Hmong in that area, and a couple of our members discovered her. And after work every day, they would go pray for her. And they discovered, one woman thought, well, I should be able to pray for her, and maybe she could hold something down. And so she prayed for her, gave her some rice, and she was able to hold it down. And gradually, she improved. People said, "Let's do a spirit ceremony." And she said no. She'd been learning Bible, and she said, "I'm going to live with God or die with him." And she came to do gardening at our place, and she ended up filling 4 freezers full of produce in one summer, 2 freezers for her and 2 for our family. She's an incredible woman, and she is so thrilled. Now she is making DVDs in her language on a myriad of topics just to share with the people in her ESL class. She's an incredible woman who still has physical effects of her experience, but is just on fire for God.
Now, many of our viewers are thinking, well, yeah, maybe these people have not been on my radar, that I just have not seen them maybe through the eyes of God that I should. Where can we start in our communities to minister to these people?
Well, you may be able to meet some of them at the store, but a good place to start is to just go online and type refugees and the name of your town.
Ah, okay.
And you'll usually come up with a refugee organization. There are very few, I don't think we have any cities without some refugees of some language group. And I got a call from the panhandle of Oklahoma that there's a refugee group there that I'd never heard of. So there are different groups in different places. Checking with a refugee assistance organization can really give you a window into who is in your specific community. And if you need additional help, I'm happy to help you do some research.
And for more information, they go to your website at refugeeministries.org.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, we know that these people are very special in God's sight. We read the Old Testament and how God talks about the alien within your midst and how we need to treat them. Is there some way that we can help these people financially? Is that what they need? Or what?
That would be a tremendous help, especially with giving their children a Christian education. Another huge need is for church planters, people who can go and serve them spiritually, as well as, of course, these people also help them with all kinds of other needs. We're beginning to partner with conferences across the North American Division to provide church planters for these different organizations. In fact, some of the 13th Sabbath offering is going to that, but to donate, you can donate to the North American Division and specify for ARIM, A-R-I-M, short for Adventist Refugee and Immigrant Ministries.
Fantastic. Terry, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
And viewers at home, what a tremendous challenge this is to us, to remember the strangers among us, people who have no home. I think that God calls all of us to open up our eyes to the needs around us in our own community. So don't forget to go to refugeeministries.org and please pray for this ministry. Pray for Terry, pray for the church planters, and pray that the good news about Jesus Christ will become real in the lives of these people, these guests, these visitors, these refugees that have come to these shores from all around the world.
Standing on the promises of Christ, my Savior. Standing, I'm standing on the promises of God. We are called to stand for such a time as this. We must fight for what is right and learn to trust in Him. We have a truth to live for, a promise to defend. Stand up tall, stand up proud, till the very end. Stand strong, stand firm, press on until the end, and claim the promise of His word. We have got a message, let's spread it through the land, praying for the courage to stand.
It takes courage to live as a refugee, and it takes great courage to stand for your newfound faith in Jesus. So please pray for these people who are going through unstable and unsettling times of transition. Our attitude to mission first starts developing when we're children. And so to help kids recognize a world out there that needs Jesus, and to help inspire them to get personally involved, Adventist Mission created mission cards for kids. These simple cards help children remember inspirational mission stories. If you'd like to see a sample set of these cards, just call or visit our website and ask for Mission Cards for Kids or offer number 302. Please remember to clearly state your name and mailing address, and be sure to mention Mission Cards for Kids or offer 302. Once again, to receive a free sample set of these mission cards, just call the toll-free number on your screen, 1-800-648-5824, and ask for Mission Cards for Kids or offer 302. Or if you prefer, just go to our website at www.adventistmission.org/offer 302. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, and thank you for your continuing prayers, financial support, and personal involvement in global mission. For Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope you can join us next time right here on Global Mission Snapshots.